Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Great Black Speakers Podcast, where we connect through conversation. I am your host, Lawrence Watkins. I am the founder and CEO of Great Black Speakers, and I'm also the president and chief operating officer of the Black Business School. So today we have a very special guest. We have Miss Sheila Ruffin, and Sheila is the boss at the Soca Caribbean Yacht Charters. And today we're talking about how Sheila started the newest luxury yacht charter service. And for those out there, excuse me for my mouth a little bit. I just came back from the dentist like a few minutes ago. So about a quarter of my mouth is still numb from Novocaine, but I did not want to miss this opportunity to talk with Sheila today. So she's going to be doing most of the talking, and I'm just going to sit back and listen and learn. So Sheila, how are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you? Besides your mouth, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Yeah. So, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself in terms of what you currently do and how you've gotten to this point in your career?
Yeah. So, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it. As Lawrence mentioned, I am Sheila Ruffin, the boss of Soca Caribbean Yacht Charters. We are a yacht vacation travel agency that specializes in stress-free, personalized, all-inclusive yacht vacations in the Caribbean oasis. How I got started to this point is I am from a small town on Virginia's eastern shore where everyone owned a boat. Virginia's eastern shore is surrounded by three bodies of water. We are a peninsula. And so I grew up around the water and boating all of my life. My grandfather, whose nickname was Big Rich, he was an avid boater. And so having that background of having my grandfather to be a boater is why I wanted to go into boating and specifically yachting. As it relates to where we are now, I think that was your question, like where we are now. We are about to hit our 1 year anniversary come January. So I'm very excited about that come January the 7th of 2020. We just got finished being a first time exhibitor at the United States Sailboat Show in Annapolis, Maryland. And that show is the largest in water sailboat show in the world. And so that was a really big accomplishment for my company because to be at the world's largest in water boat show, that was pretty major. And so just coming off of that high, now we're trying to get into the rim of making sure that we have booking.
Got you. Well, I want to go back a little bit and talk about, I guess, your childhood a little bit more in terms of that relationship with your grandfather. So, um, when people hear about boating, we hear about the super rich, the super fabulous, that type of thing. Is that how your grandfather grew up in terms of just getting into boating, or was it a different type of story?
Yeah, so it's funny because his nickname was Big Rich, right? So a lot of people go, "Oh my gosh, rich." My family, we were not rich in finances, but we were very much rich in love. And my grandfather made it work. He had 8 children, and he had to do what he had to do in order to survive. So growing up on Virginia's Eastern Shore, at one point, specifically Northampton County, which is where I grew up, was the poorest county in Virginia. And so we're not known because, again, we're a peninsula off the state. And so there are currently even United States maps that do not even include us on the map. And so we were not rich in finances. But my grandfather, he made his own boat. So no, we didn't have the money, or he didn't have the money to actually purchase the boat. He made his own boat by using the resources that he had, whether it was a car top or whatever he had to do to make his own boat. And so that's how he became an avid boater on the Chesapeake Bay by just collecting whatever he could. And he and his best friend were just always boating and fishing.
Got you. So how did he instill that love for boating in you? Like, would you guys go on the water every day, every week, or how did that work?
Yeah, so I always heard stories about my grandfather. Again, everyone called him Big Rich. And so being around him when I was younger, he did pass away when I was probably around maybe 8 or 9 years old. But being around him, number one, I learned about being a hard worker. So even outside of the water, it was always being a hard worker and doing what you have to do to get to the next level. So that's the first thing that he instilled in me, and taking care of your family. So the big picture is not so much of being around my grandfather on the water, but just being surrounded by the water. I grew up where 5 or 10 minutes from my home was the Chesapeake Bay. So I had Cape Charles, Virginia, which is known for boating, 5, 10 minutes away. And so at any given moment, I could be at the water, at even boating. Everyone, when I grew up, everyone owned a boat. And so it was nothing to cross the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, which is in Virginia, to get to like Virginia Beach and Hampton Roads area. You see thousands of boaters all the time.
Got you. So, that love for boating. Now, did you always do boating between, I guess, the time when you were young and the time that you started your company, or were you doing other stuff in between?
Yeah, I was doing other things in between. I mean, it was something that was in me, but it really did not, it was not birthed until probably several years ago. So it's similarly to, you're growing up and you have something that's always around you, but you decide to do something else, but then you always come back home. And so that's
Mhm.
the way I look at it.
Yeah. So before you started this company, what were you doing? What was your career before this?
Yeah, so after I graduated from high school, I matriculated to Hampton University in Hampton, Virginia, which even outside of my dorm was water and boating. And I graduated with a degree in political science and a minor in English. I knew that I wanted to matriculate to Howard University School of Law in Washington, D.C. to become an environmental attorney. And so a lot of my focus was on environmental law, making sure that water was clean, making sure that the air was clean, making sure that Black and Brown communities were not given the brunt of environmental degradation. And so I joke around with people to say, even my environmental law background helped me in my second stage of this new career of being the boss of a yacht vacation travel agency, because I have some experience that other people do not have in learning about the environment and marinas and tourism from that perspective.
Got you. So that's interesting where, a poli-sci English major goes to law school to study the environment, now starts a business in the yachting industry, something that connects to her childhood. So how does a poli-sci English major go from that career trajectory to actual entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I love that question. So here's the thing. My mother often told me, "Oh, you should be a lawyer because you argue well." I would argue with my mother all the time, and just making sure that she knew I was right. And so even hearing you should be a lawyer, I said, you know what? Maybe I should be a lawyer. And so usually the major that people use to get to law school is political science. And so that's what I wanted to do. At that point in time, I was very much into politics, and I thought that was the best way to get me into law school. So in law school, again, that environmental law background. The thing about law sometimes, I'm going to be very frank, sometimes law can really remove your creative juices. It can really strip you away from just having that creativity. Um, and that's something that I felt that was happening with me. I know that I'm a bubbly person, and I know that I like to have fun, and I love to travel. And so after law school, and even after becoming an attorney for 4 or 5 years, I decided to go to travel school. And so I did a year or two program with the Travel Institute, which is a online travel school, and I got a certified travel associate certification. And at that point, I literally prayed and I said, God, everyone's a travel agent nowadays. You can go online and become a travel agent in 5 to 10 minutes if you take an online test. So not only did I do schooling, but when I prayed, God gave me this want and desire to go into yachting with my background of having that boating and doing this in honor of my grandfather, and also because I'm bougie. I am.
Well, you did go to Hampton. No, I was playing.
Say that. I do. So all my Hamptonians, they know what this means. But no, I mean, I'm just gonna be very honest. I like the finer things in life. And so what better way to explore that than to be on someone's yacht for a week?
Wholeheartedly agree. No, that's cool. So, that leads me to a question in regards to your experience in HBCU with Hampton and I guess Howard for a little bit of time as well.
Yeah.
How has that shaped, your current trajectory in life in terms of this, this yachting career that you actually have now?
Oh gosh. That is such an amazing question. I know people say that to give them time to think about what they're going to say, but that question is so deep to me, to even to the point where I get emotional. Um, Hampton University, like you mentioned, is an HBCU, and I know that your clientele and your viewers know exactly what that means. But for people that are not familiar with that terminology, an HBCU is a historically Black college and university. So being at HBCU really instilled in me who I am, and instilled in me history, and instilled to me loyalty and being a hard worker. And I'll give you an example of what someone told me at a restaurant. I'll never forget, in Virginia Beach, Virginia. When I told this individual, my mother told the individual, "Oh, my daughter goes to Hampton University. She attends Hampton University." And the individual, it was a waiter, and he was African American. And he said, "Why would you go to an HBCU when the whole world is not Black?" And I will never forget that. That was probably back in 2006, 2007, maybe my junior year at Hampton. And I thought about that throughout the year. I did not attend Hampton University because I believe that the whole world is Black. I attended Hampton University for one reason, and that was because it was based on a different world. Honestly, I love this show. I know people thought I was going to say something else, but no, I love the different world. It was like the coolest show ever. But seriously, it was really because I wanted to be surrounded around individuals that looked like me. And I think people get confused about when they hear HBCU. All Hamptonians are not the same. We think differently. We we're surrounded around African Americans and also other people of color as well, and other Caucasians as well. But we do think differently. In political science, we had a plethora of different ways that people thought about politics. But it instilled in me just about knowing who I am. And the same thing with Howard University School of Law. I had to put School of Law because, Hampton and Howard are rivalries. But walking through the hallways of Howard University School of Law and seeing the alumni of that university, and seeing a picture of Thurgood Marshall, and seeing a picture of Charles Hamilton Houston, it just instilled in me a proud feeling. And so it definitely helps in this industry where it's not a lot of Black Americans.
Got you. And I want to get into that next. But first, shout out to Daryl Bell, Ron from a different world. He's the homie. So shout out to him. And we're going to have him on the show. You just reminded me we're going to have him on the show soon to talk about what he's doing in the entertainment industry. And second, if you guys are loving this interview, go ahead and press the thumbs up button. Show us some love so Google's algorithm can show us some love as well. For the people who are just tuning in, I'm here with Sheila Ruffin, and Sheila is the boss at Soca Caribbean Yacht Charters. And today we're talking about how she started the newest luxury yacht charter service. So let's talk about this in terms of your transition into entrepreneurship, Sheila.
Mhm.
What was your biggest challenge as you were getting this business off the ground? So we'll start there.
Yeah, so a few. And I like the word challenge as opposed to obstacles. I don't have any obstacles, but I do have challenges. The number one challenge is, again, being in an industry where not a lot of Black Americans, not a lot of Black women, and not a lot of Black women millennials are into. And so, I mean, let's just be honest. I am surrounded in an industry where Caucasian older men dominate. And so, one challenge is just remaining confident in knowing that no matter what, I belong here and I'm here to stay. That's the first challenge. The second challenge is education. And Lawrence, let me explain. I'm very educated. I graduated from Hampton, graduated from Howard Law. I'm an attorney, went to travel school. So let me explain what I mean by education. I am working in an industry, the yachting industry, that has overlooked wealthy people of color and wealthy millennials. So that's one challenge on the left side. On the right side, I'm trying to garner attention from those very demographics, wealthy people of color and wealthy millennials that have no clue that yachts and yachting are a viable vacation option. I can go up to a millionaire, and I have gone up to African American men who have money. And when I say, hey, have you gone on a yacht for a vacation? It's really shocking and it puzzles them. Like, what do you mean? But they have the money, right? So the biggest challenge is really trying to educate both that left and right hand side so that we can meet into the middle. So I can tell the yachting industry, hey guys, we are missing out on billions of dollars in revenue because we're not targeting those wealthy people of color and those wealthy millennials. And then going to those wealthy people of color and those wealthy millennials to say, hey guys, you don't have to always go on a cruise vacation. You can also try yachting. So those are my two challenges.
Now that's interesting because you have a lot of different things have popping up for the millennial crowd, like Yacht Week and Black Yacht Week, and I don't know what else. I mean, just so many different things that are out here that they have them all over the world, that type of thing as well.
Yeah.
So when you're doing your, I guess, outreach to these individuals, like what's your, I guess, your main strategy, your main source? Like, how do you get that message across that this is a viable vacation option?
Right. So let me go back to, because you make a good point about Yacht Week and Black Yacht Week and Yacht Week East Africa. I love that Yacht Week. So let me tell you what makes me different though. So that, because people bring that up. Those companies, number one, I'm not sure if they're actually ran by a travel agent who has gone to travel school. Number two, Soca Caribbean Yacht Charters is a travel agency. So we don't specialize in Yacht Week, we specialize in yacht charter vacation packages. Our motto and our dogma is door to dock to door services. I was really tired of going on vacation and starting my vacation when I got to the destination. I felt that my vacation should begin at the moment I leave out of my door. And so with Soca Caribbean Yacht Charters, Lawrence, when you step out of your door in Colombia, we're going to have a luxury car service to come pick you up and take you to the nearest airport. So your vacation is going to start the minute you step out of your door in Colombia. And then once you reach the destination, the Caribbean destination, then we're going to have ground transportation to come pick you up and take you to the yacht marina. From there, you're going to board your yacht for 5 nights, 6 days minimum. And then you have your personal chef / bartender. You have your gourmet cuisine, premium liquor, your state of the art yacht accommodations, sightseeing and touring. Everything is included. Your water sports are included as well. And then we're going to do everything in reverse. We're going to have that ground transportation to take you to the airport in the Caribbean. And then you're going to take your commercial flight from there back to Colombia. And we're still going to have that black car, that luxury car service to take you back home. So I want to just make sure that we clarify that although there are yacht weeks, I'm sure they're amazing, I do differ from those companies. I'm sorry. Now, what was your other question?
Yeah, no, well, let's jump into that. I mean, let's talk about the service. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, how much does something like that cost at a minimum? For a
Yeah.
family of, let's say, like four to six. I think that's how many people most yachts are able to accommodate. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you should be yachting because you know it all.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, we have a 6-person, 8-person, and 10-person yacht. And you mentioned the 4 to 6. So let's talk about a 6-person family or a 6-person sorority group or a 6 group of girlfriends or guy friends. That would be our bronze breadfruit package. That is a catamaran yacht. That's about a 48-footer. That's the length of the yacht. And that's going to be approximately starting at 36,000. That's based on 5 nights, 6 days. So if you divide that by the 6 people, you're looking at approximately about $6,000 starting off at. But again, that includes everything. We always hear all inclusive often. I almost want to say ultra inclusive because everything is included. Now, the only thing that's not included is your commercial flight. We do offer an upgrade to a private jet if people would like to do that, and that would be included. But the reason why we do not include the commercial flight is because everyone's picky about what time they leave. I am a 6 a.m. girl. That's what time I'd rather leave, but maybe you're not a 6 a.m. person. Or maybe you'd rather have Delta, or American or United because you have points with them. So that's the reason why we do not include commercial flight. But everything else is included. What I already mentioned, your taxes, your fees, your gratuity for the crew on the yacht, your gratuities for the ground transportation is included, your custom and immigration fees are included. And so you don't have to worry about a thing. We're going to take care of the stress and we're going to take care of all the details and planning. And so you can just relax and continue to do your show.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. So, let's talk about, of the other people in your industry, right? In terms of, you mentioned a lot of just older white men,
Yeah.
right? In terms of the industry being dominated by them. So how have your interactions been with, I guess, your competitors, and how have they taken to a young Black woman coming into a space that has been dominated by them for so long?
Yeah. So one thing is, and I'm going to give you an example from the United States Sailboat Show, which I really enjoyed. The staff were pretty amazing in there. But I'm going to brag on myself. I brought energy to that show. The thing about yachting that I have noticed, and the industry veterans can tell me something different, but it is very traditional and it's very stale. I mean, I had soca music playing. I was dancing out there. I'm laughing. I mean, it was almost like my booth was the party scene. So that's one thing. I differ from my competitors or counterparts or whatever people want to refer to themselves as because we're energetic. We don't think that luxury should be boring and traditional. It should be fun and exciting. Just because you're paying, thousands and thousands of dollars doesn't mean that you have to be stoic on the yacht and you have to have a cigar and your glass of wine. You can do that, but you can also let your hair down and have some fun. So that's one thing. When people walk past my booth, they would just look and smile. Some people would come up there with me and say, we'd rather be at your booth as opposed to where we are. I mean, so I brought some excitement. The second thing that's different is I don't look like them. And I say that not only because I'm a person of color, but even in my clothing. I don't I don't wear the nautical jacket and the nautical vest. I'm gonna put on my cute scarf and my bright pink lipstick and look cute. So that's the third thing. I don't dress like them. And then the third thing is, it's not just about a yacht vacation with my company. We are about bringing everything. We're about being a one-stop shop. And my counterparts, they don't have that. If you go along with those companies, you are going to have to take care of your Uber ride or your Lyft or your super shuttle, which can be frustrating sometimes. You know, those super shuttles can be late. Your Lyft can be late. They can get lost. You can miss flight. I'm speaking from experience. But we're going to have a uniform chauffeur to come pick you up and make sure that you know you're in luxury.
Got you. Yeah, no, I mean that sounds like an awesome experience. And you go travel to all these different shows. You organize everything for a family or a sorority group or whoever that wants to just vacation and spend some good quality time with each other. And you do these yacht cruise or these yacht charters in the Caribbean. Now, do you live in the Caribbean?
I don't. I used to work in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. So shout out to USVI. And that's specifically where I became very, very familiar with yachting because I worked on marina tourism and whether companies could build piers and marinas. And so that was back in 2012 when I worked and lived in St. Thomas. And so having that background really, really helped me. But regarding the destination, you're right. I wanted to name my company Soca, Caribbean Yacht Charter, for a reason. Again, I know your viewers are pretty much familiar with soca music, but if you are not, soca music is the soundtrack of Carnival. It was originated in Trinidad and the rest of the Caribbean islands, and Caribbean culture, even in Europe and gosh, in Japan, have really picked up soca music. Soca music is very energetic. It releases a lot of euphoria and bliss into your life when you're having a bad day. And so that's what it did for me. Back in 2012, I had a very difficult time because I found out I did not pass the Maryland State Bar examination, which was to make myself a licensed attorney. And I literally told God, if you don't do something quick, I'm going to take myself out of here, which very bluntly meant I'm going to commit suicide. And when I tried to do that twice, I failed. And that was on a Friday. On a Monday, I found out I got a job offer to move to St. Thomas, and I moved 14 days later. And so while I was in St. Thomas, I kept on hearing this music that was different from dancehall, that was different from reggae. And I never forget asking my coworker Pedro, I said, "What is this music I keep on hearing? It makes me forget about all of my stressors and failing the bar examination." And he told me about Calypso. And then he explained what soca music was. And I said to myself, when I get a business, not if, but when I get a business, I'm going to pay back Caribbean culture and I'm going to pay back soca artists and soca music for giving me so much joy, to really make me feel like I was at home. And so that's what soca music is. Our relaxing destinations are in the Bahamas. And I want to say, definitely still pray for the Bahamas and everything that they're going through. Um, we also have destinations or yacht vacations in both sides of St. Martin, so the French and Dutch side. We have the British Virgin Islands, as well as Grenada, which we recently added, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent.
Got you. Yeah, no, I mean, I mean that's very awesome, and I thought that was my last question, but I can't get out of here without going back a little bit,
Sure.
right? Because you kind of just blew over that right at that point. But I think it's important for those who may be struggling with mental health issues or whatever it might be, who may be going through a difficult time, because now you are a successful entrepreneur who has a company, but it didn't look like that when you failed the bar in back in, I guess, 2012 or whatever, right? And you were thinking about just ending it all, right?
Yeah.
And just off of that alone. So, what would you say to people who are are struggling right now, who are having those types of thoughts? What would you say to someone like that?
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, life is difficult. There's a statement out there that when life throws you lemons, make lemonade. I don't say that. I say two things. When life throws you lemons, sometimes you cannot make lemonade. Sometimes you cannot even spell lemonade. It's harder to make lemonade because life is just stressful. And I joke around with my niece and I say, when life throws me a lemon, I get a new piercing. But I say that for a reason. And I'm not sure if I even explained it to her, but I've told her when life throws you a lemon, get a piercing. And what that means is when life throws you that hardship or that boulder or that mountain, I do get a piercing because I'm going to tell life that I will inflict pain on myself more than you can ever do. And so I'm going to get a piercing. It may hurt. It may make me scream. It may make me cry. It may make me yell. It may make me, I don't know, feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done this. But life, I'm not going to allow you to inflict that pain on me more than I'll inflict on myself. And so when I come out of that piercing, I look even more cuter. Told you I'm bougie. But it really tells me that pain may last for some time, but you'll come out like a peacock. You'll come out even more gorgeous and even more beautiful than you have when that pain was inflicted upon you. So that piercing or those piercings that I have, they really mean a lot to me. I call them war wounds. But to those individuals that are thinking about committing suicide, who are thinking about ending your life, who are thinking about doing something that's outside the norm, number one, center yourself. I am a Christian, and so I definitely believe in prayer. I believe in connecting yourself to a church family or to a pastor. So that's my number one piece of advice. If you're not a Christian, that's fine. Just kind of center yourself and maybe talk to a friend. But the other thing is just believe in yourself. You were put on this earth to do something, whether it is being an entrepreneur, whether it is making your community beautified by being the best person you can to do some volunteer work, but talk to someone. And for me, it was just getting out of myself and not thinking that I could do it all. Because in college, I could do it all. I graduated like top 1% of my class and I was very successful. So when I failed something, it hit me extremely difficult. It hit me very hard because I'm Sheila Ruffin. I'm a Ruffin, I'm a Gillis, I'm a Smith, I'm a Dillard. I should be doing everything. And so just realizing that you're not Superwoman or Superman, and there are going to be times when you do fail, but right when you fail, there's um, a beautiful side when you come out of that. And I'm here for you if you want to talk to me about anything. As you can see, I'm very down to earth, bougie, but down to earth. So if you want to talk to me as well. So yeah.
Right. And one other thing I would add to that is seek professional help, and there's no stigma in seeking professional help as well if you're going through something like that. Yeah. So for people who want to know more about your company, how can they get in touch with you in your business?
Yeah, so our website is www.soca, SOCA, yachtcharters.com. That is our website. So make sure you go on there, and there's a lot of great information about pricing, the type of yachts we have, our relaxing destinations, our itineraries. We have a blog on there as well. And then you can follow us on social media at Soca, again, SOCA, Yacht Charters. So we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we also started our YouTube channel as well. So those are ways that you can reach out to us. We also have an email, info@Soca Yacht Charters, and our number is 703-647-3647.
Wonderful. And last question, what is your best piece of advice for people who want to follow in your footsteps to become entrepreneurs?
Yeah, gosh. Number one, I would say take some type of coursework or a class or a conference or something like that, because entrepreneurship is no joke. I am an attorney. I'm not, I was not savvy in business, but I took a 12-week, very difficult and strenuous entrepreneurship course with a program called Operation Hope. It is free. It is specifically for people of color and for those that may not have the resources to pay $5,000 or $6,000. So that's one thing. Become educated. Read books on how people have been successful. So that's the number one thing. If you don't major in business or entrepreneurship in college, or maybe you don't, maybe you're in the military, or maybe you're in a trade school, that's fine. I'm going to give a plug for Shark Tank as well. Shark Tank was or is also a show that I watch religiously. I've learned a lot from Shark Tank. So I would say watch Shark Tank. Number three would be just do it. Take a chance. I love to do things that people tell me I cannot do, or you shouldn't do that, or you don't belong there, or no one has paved the way for you. Pave your own way. And just to piggyback off of that, I used to clerk for a judge in Maryland. And one time she said, sometimes the door will not be open. You're going to have to go through a window. And I'm going to add a little bit to that and say, sometimes the window isn't open. You're going to have to bust open that window. And that's exactly what I intend to do and I will do. There's no front door. All windows are locked. And so if I have to get a rock to crash open that window to pave the way for people that look like me in this industry or other industries, then that's what I intend to do. So bust open some windows and know that you can do it.
All right, bust open some windows and get some piercings. So, so Sheila, thank you so much for your time today. And and for people who are just tuning in, we had a great interview with Sheila Ruffin, and Sheila is the boss at Soca Caribbean Yacht Charters, and that is Soca, SOCA. yachtcharters.com. And today we were talking about how she started the newest luxury yacht charter service. So if you guys enjoyed this content, enjoyed this interview, please go ahead and press the thumbs up button before you get out of here. And we also like to thank our sponsor, the Black Business School, which I am co-owner and president and chief operating officer. And at the Black Business School, we don't just help you climb the corporate ladder, we help you build one as well. So what we do is help African Americans obtain a culturally relevant yet practical education in all things wealth building at a price they can afford. So make sure you check us out at theblackbusinessschool.com. So press the thumbs up button. And on behalf of Ms. Sheila Ruffin, my name is Lawrence Watkins. You guys take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.